You know, I really like these retro Casios, these digital watches from the 1980s and the 1990s and then on.
Casio.
Like the A168, the A158, and of course the F91W. There's just something about them, the way that the text and the different colors and lines pops out of that black faceplate that just looks, I just think it looks really cool. And so about a year ago, I saw that SKXMODS had released these metal cases for the digital Casios like the A168 module with sapphire crystal, and I was intrigued. But when I looked at the faceplates that they had, it was just these simplified sort of radial sunburst plates, very plain, you know, and I thought to myself, well, I've already got my A1000s, and so I didn't really see the need to go for these, even though I certainly did want something like this, because having a piece of sapphire crystal on one of these old Casios would certainly stop them getting scratched up. And if you've got one of these old Casios, you know they are prone for scratching, what with everything just being made of resin. And so I bookmarked it and I kind of forgot about it. And then recently, YouTube doing its thing, showing people old videos, you know, from over a year ago in the algorithm, I saw some reviews that had come out a little bit later where they were showing off the faceplates that had all these lovely colourful accents and all the text that I really enjoyed from these retro Casios. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to get one of these. And I decided to try and reach out to them and see if they wanted to send in some, because then maybe I could get a little bit more to show you guys, maybe do some comparisons. And they were able to send me one of these pre-built A168 style watches in silver with the sort of electroluminescence faceplate on there with all those colourful accents, with what is a genuine Casio module in here. And then they also sent me a mod kit that enabled me to build a gold one. So before we get into this, I just want to give the usual disclaimer. I contacted SKXMODS to see if they would be willing to send me these parts, and they sent in all these parts for free. I don't have to send them back, but they did not pay for this review, and all of my opinions are naturally my own, and no one is checking this review before it's posted. And the high contrast display that I've bought that ended up in this gold one, I bought it myself on AliExpress. Now, before we get into building the gold watch, I did want to unbox the silver one, which is the pre-build. So if you don't want to build it yourself, you can just buy one of their pre-made watches. So let's have a little look at that. So the watch in this box should look something like the A168 here with this bandolier style bracelet on it. I had this bracelet in my box and I just threw it on this watch. So I'm excited about this. I'm very excited. I'm going to give you some bias right now. I am hoping that I can recommend these to you, because when I saw the pictures of these on their website, I was excited. I'm really hoping that it lives up to my expectation, because I want to be able to recommend this. Oh. Oh my goodness. Let's get it out of the plastic. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That looks phenomenal. Oh, let me bring you in closer. Even though they've got lovely sort of studio photographs on their website, it doesn't do it justice. This is absolutely gorgeous. Wow, that sapphire glass on there looks fantastic. So let me give you a bit of insight as to what this is. So this is a stainless steel case with a sapphire crystal. And then it's a stainless steel bracelet with solid links, screw links, and a milled clasp. It's a nice polished finish there. It's got my fingerprints all over it already. And they did send another bracelet that we're going to put on here. The case is absolutely fantastic though. Seeing that in there with that faceplate, that module. And these do have genuine Casio modules in them as far as I'm aware. Gosh, that is absolutely fantastic. Let me get a preview of a wrist shot here. The lightweightness of it feels really nice on the wrist. And the actual finishing on the bracelet, even though it doesn't feel sort of as heavy as I would like, it's, oh, that's smooth. And it's not, if you've worn Casios before, you know they love to rip your hairs off your wrist. This is not doing that at all. That is, yeah, Pretty nice finishing on it. And if you wanted to save some money on these, because this is a premium thing, you could just get a different bracelet from somewhere else. Similar to how I got the bracelet for this thing. This bracelet for this Casio here, this stretchy one, was like £4. And it's not bad at all. Doesn't rip the hairs off my wrist. Let's put it that way. Let's see how the screws in this bracelet come out, shall we? Because I've had some trouble in the past. No problems at all there. That just came straight out. Nice to have a bandolier style bracelet though with screw links. I mean, this is the nicest bandolier bracelet I've had, even if it does feel a bit lightweight. Ah, so you've got the kind of screws here that have the sort of flexible bit at the top there, and then it's just a bar that goes in. Thankfully, there are through holes, so you can push them from the other side. They are the same, and yet it slots onto this one just fine, but it won't slot onto these other ones. So I need to show this kind of stuff because I want to be transparent about this and give my honest opinion. This is irritating, but I'll take off this link that I've just put on so that I can put this one on with the end piece. Then I'll resize the whole bracelet and we'll come back with the wrist shot. So there it is, with all the links removed. I ended up having to keep 2 links, including the end link, on each side of this for a nice symmetrical look on my 6-inch wrist. But that, oh my goodness, that just looks absolutely phenomenal. And I asked them to send another bracelet in, and I've just removed the links from this as well. So this is a satin finish, like a brushed kind of finish, with the sort of middle link layout there. And you can see them side by side. That is it's a very big difference in the light here, how, you know, the polished almost looks dark depending on the environment because, you know, of the light that's being reflected off it, whereas this looks brighter in comparison. Now both of the bracelets are like this. They have these double easy spring bars here where you can just grab them. So changing the bracelet is going to be relatively easy, so let's do that right now. You just grab these two and it just comes right out, and there's your isolated case. Gosh, that feels fantastic, and I love their Casebacks as well. Nice brushed finish on there. Sapphire glass, oh, I absolutely love that. I'll say this right now because I don't even need to get to the conclusion to say this. Casio should be making something like this. They should be making a vintage style watch with this kind of faceplate in a sapphire crystal stainless steel case. They should make this. It's really sad that we have to mod them to get that level of quality, because the design of this is just, it never gets old. It's just, they're such elegant watches, and it's a shame these faceplates here are embedded in the watch. You can't remove them like, say, the Casio Royale AE 1200s, where you can, I see mods for those all the time, where people just take the faceplates out and put it in a metal case. And you see here, these cases do not have drilled lug holes. Not that you need them because of the way these fit, but they do not have drilled lug holes. So then let's try and put this other one in. This might be a bit more difficult. So there it is on the satin bracelet, opposed to the polished one. Gosh, that looks phenomenal as well. I was a bit skeptical about having it all polished, but I thought I'd go for it anyway, just so that I could show you the difference, you know, in the lighting. And it's the same kind of thing as this here, where the case itself is very polished and chrome-like, and then the bracelet is this nice satin finish. And you've got the same thing here, next to this. Oh my goodness. The only thing missing is that Casio logo, just filling that space in the corner, but everything else is just fantastic. So now that you've seen the pre-built, let's get into building the gold one, and it's remarkably simple. I don't really even need to jump cut to me doing the top-down view for this. So here's the page for the mod kits, and we'll just quickly go through picking the parts. So you can pick the color of your case here, and we went with the polished gold. Now, they didn't have the gold bracelet that I wanted in stock at the time, so I went with the black band, but you have a bunch of different band colors here. And then you can also choose your bracelet from all these different options here. And then down here we've got the options for the different face plates. You've got all kinds of different ones here. And then you've got the ones that I really like down here, the ones with the colourful text just popping out from that black background with the borders around the edge. Absolutely stunning, these. So, because we're doing the gold one here, I'm going to pick this one, which is the one that I end up using, but I did have them send in a few, and I will just show you some B-roll footage of those in a minute. And then down here you've got the different casebacks. You've got the option between the matte finish and then the brushed ones. They're called polished here, but they're polished around the edges with a brushed center. And since that's closer to the original Casios, I got one of these silver ones because, like my A168, the gold one, it has a silver caseback, so that's why I went for that. So inside the box, your straps and bracelets will be slotted in at the bottom there. Then the face plates are inside a plastic container. I had them send a few. And then of course the modules. Now you will need to order these separately, but they are genuine Casio modules, and I had them send a positive and a negative, and I will show both of those off. And then it comes with the tools that you'll need, like these tweezers, which are just made of plastic. Then you've got 3 screwdrivers, the orange being for removing Casio caseback screws, the red one for the SKXMODS case, and the green one is for bracelet screws if you ordered a bracelet. And it also comes with one of those little metal push pin things. So here's a quick look at the face plates. This is the black gold one that I'm going to end up using. Absolutely stunning. These are really high quality. And then this is the typical A168 with the blue and gold accents. I might put this one in the silver watch at some point because I really like the stylings of this one. And then here's the gold version with the purple accents with that electroluminescence text at the top. And then here's a closer look just to really show you the quality of the print on here. These are really nice metal face plates. So let me tell you how to put this together because it is remarkably simple and you'll end up with what is a gorgeous looking watch. On the right hand side of the case there's only one button, so when you flip the case over to lay it face down, that's going to be on the left hand side with the empty spot where a button isn't at the top. Then you just reverse the faceplate, making sure that it's the correct way up. And before you place the faceplate in there, just make sure that you use an air puffer to get any dust or particles out of there. And then just press the faceplate in, give it another little light puff with air. Don't give it too much of an intense puff because I've noticed some of these faceplates friction fit and they kind of stay in there a little bit. Others, they will literally just fall out to the point where I did the air puff thing and it blew the faceplate out of there. So just give it a light puff after you've put it in, just to double check there's no particles in there. And then do the same thing to the module itself, give it a bit of an air puff. These do come with a protective film over the top of the module, so make sure that you've peeled that off before you put it in. Then just flip the module around and press it in down over the top of that faceplate. I pressed it in against the 2 buttons on the one side first, and then it went in down on the other side nice and easy. Then it's just as simple as taking your metal tweezers and putting it in the AC hole and then touching that to the back of the battery to make sure that everything comes on the screen. And then after that you just put the gasket on. You can put some silicone grease on there if you want. I did do that the first time I put this together, but in this fancier B-roll footage with better lighting, I didn't do that this time. Then put that small spring in this hole just here so that it makes contact with the back of the case here, and that just makes the beeps and the alarm work. And then just put on the case back and screw it down with the 4 screws. And these are flathead screws, and these are not the same as the original Casio case screws, which are a smaller Phillips head, so just use the included screws. And there you have it. I mean, it's as simple as that. The process should take you only about 5 minutes, and what you're left with is a really beautiful little watch. Now, they also sent over a gold mesh that I attempted to modify the module with, where what I think you're supposed to do is remove the silver backing on the screen and then clean it off, and then put the mesh in place of it, or put the silver piece behind it. I'm not sure. I did try both and it did work. And I was able to successfully do that, but then I foolishly, when putting it back together, just put a little bit too much pressure when trying to slip the screen back into its position. Split it right down the middle, look. and what I should have done was just pulled the lever down further, and then you can just gently press it and it will slot in place, which I subsequently did when replacing the screen. But just a tiny little crack, but it was enough to destroy the screen. So I'd recommend just buying one of their modules with the mesh pre-applied to save yourself the trouble. Anyway, that led me down the rabbit hole of getting one of these STN high contrast displays for A168, A158, F91W. It seems that those, even if the modules differ, the screen for them is universal. So I will put a link to the listing that I got this display from in the description from AliExpress. It was about 12 quid. And if you look at this example here, it's actually incredible how at every angle you can read this display perfectly. At the points where the original Casio display starts to sort of disappear, or all the little elements of the screen start to blend together, this high contrast display remains completely legible. I will now cut to the footage of me installing this high contrast display, just in case you want to get one for yourself. So we'll get into that right now. So the first thing we're going to do is unhook these clips. So you just get one of the flathead screwdrivers that came in the kit. I'm using the little green one. You just unhook these like that, flip it around, do it on the other side. And then on the sides here, there's more. There. Same again on the other side, which they've already come off. So you just lay it down and lift this off, and it comes off with the plastic in it. And there is a little spring that goes in the back that it's already fallen out, and I've put it to one side. Then we take out this. And then, very important, inside here is a thin strip. This is vital to making it work. If you forget to put this in, it won't work. And be very careful of these two gold springs here. They are very small, and you could spend an eternity trying to find them in the carpet. In order to get the screen out, I'm going to take a pointed tool like this and then pull this down. And as you can see, there's enough room now for the screen that you can just... Now, you just take the screen out. And there it goes. Be careful not to let this white panel fall out. It's black on the other side because it's holding in the golden springs, so you don't want to lose those. Here's the new high contrast screen mod. I'm actually quite excited to compare this to the other watch. Has it got a protective film on there? I think it does. Move that. Slot this in there. Press it in, like so. And then we're just going to take our tool, pull this lever down. So we're just going to put that in there, pull that down, just gently press that in so it's behind the lever. We're going to flip it over, put this strip in here. This conductive strip here wants to touch this rubbery conductive piece. So we're going to put it we want this pad to touch this contact here. So then we just place this down on top. Then just press it down to make sure all these clips lock on. And the little spring there is not in the right place at the moment, but I will put it in the correct spot before we put the case back on. Oh wow, look at that. That is the most legible Casio digital screen I've ever seen. Wow. I'm kind of glad I broke the other one now. That's I wouldn't have bothered with this otherwise. That's incredible. Gosh, that is amazing. The numbers do have a slightly blue tint to them. I'm not sure if it shows up on camera. Yeah, definitely. There's a slight sort of dark purpley blue tint. Oh my goodness. That is extremely deep in contrast though. Yeah, what can I say? Absolutely worth the 12 quid. And if you enjoy tinkering with these Casios, I think you're going to have an okay time with it. Just make sure that you're very careful when you take these apart. You don't want any of the small springs to sort of fly off and then spend 40 minutes on the floor looking for it. Anyway, in conclusion, and I'll try to condense this summarization of everything down a little bit here. The cases are really nice quality, stainless steel, the pushers are really comfortable, and the sapphire glass is just a fantastic thing to have. And the overall finishing of these cases is just done to a really nice standard. Two things to note: there are no drilled lug holes in these cases, and while they do have a protective coating on them to stop sort of scratches and scuffs, it's only on the black and the silver versions, not the gold and the rose gold. Just be warned that this super hard coating is not an eliminator of scratches on these polished surfaces, since I'm not particularly rough with my watches, and yet even the silver one here has accumulated some scratches that I was unable to wipe off with the polishing cloth. So if you want to minimize the appearance of scuffs and scratches like this, you might want to consider the satin brushed cases instead. Also, I just want to do a quick comparison here. These cases, while in similar size and wear, they've got a much more prominent bezel area, making them noticeably different when side by side with, like, this F91W, but still very familiar, and I think it's not something you're really going to notice if you don't have them side by side. They're still a very handsome looking watch. The faceplates, they're really nice quality, they're slim, they're made of metal, but they don't quite have the vibrance and pop of, say, the F91W, for example, here. Especially in the red accents, they just don't quite pop out as much. And if you look at the white print on the F91W, it's almost got a silver quality to it. It's absolutely outstanding. The bracelets, really nice quality, and while initially I thought maybe they felt a bit lightweight, seeing that they are literally the same thickness as the original Casio bracelets and yet have such nice finishing, and their screw links, solid links, milled clasp, double easy spring bars. These are actually really nice bracelets, and if you're looking for a nice Casio style bracelet, they're pretty good. But if you're looking for something more on a budget, these cases are compatible with standard Casio style bracelets that have that 18mm lug width and the 20mm shoulder, such as the A168, the A1000, or my cheap 4 quid stretchy gold bandolier bracelet here. Also, didn't have any issues with the SKXMODS bracelets in terms of removing any of the screws. The only issue I had was the end link that attaches to the clasp didn't want to go over one of the other links, and so I had to put a different link in there in order for it to go on nicely and attach, but thankfully I was able to do that. So apart from that little hiccup, no issues really. The rubber strap is extremely high quality, and albeit it's a bit expensive for a rubber strap, but if you're somebody that likes these kinds of straps, then you're not going to be disappointed with the level of quality here. Got a nice buckle on it as well, and it matches the case in terms of finish and colour, so that's always good. Also, both this strap and the bracelet, none of these things, I've worn these watches on all of them, and none of them have nipped any hairs or anything. They're very comfortable to wear. The casebacks are also nice quality, with lovely polishing around the edges and a nice brushed satin finish in the middle with nicely engraved text. No issues with the screws when attaching the caseback, and they give you 2 extra screws as well, which is nice. Remember to use the large red-tipped flathead screwdriver. Don't use Phillips head screws from a Casio case. This one has its own screws. As far as the mesh goes, while it is a simple process to apply it yourself if you know what you're doing, SKXMODS do offer modules with the mesh pre-applied if you want to save yourself the trouble. But I will say the process of actually applying the mesh was relatively easy. It was just about using a bit of isopropyl alcohol to soften the adhesive, and then, just sort of push a knife along underneath and it will come off, and then you just replace it. What I think you're supposed to do is replace that silver piece with the mesh, and then you're fine, as long as you clean off the back of the glass of any residue of the adhesive, and as long as you put it back together carefully, it should be alright. So if you're capable of tinkering with these Casios, I'd recommend giving it a try, because it might be entertaining to you. Now, the price. I have to admit, these are quite pricey when you factor in the cost of the bracelet and the strap, which is, the strap's almost as expensive as the bracelet. And then the module as well. If you're going to rehouse a module from an old damaged A168 or F105W, then you'll save about 20 quid. And if you want this on a budget, just forego the bracelet and get something else of your choice instead. And you will save a bit of money by building it yourself as well. And it's worth doing too, with how simple it is.
Again, just to reiterate what I said before about the STN display, that lovely high contrast display, for 12 quid you're getting an amazing upgrade to the original display with fantastic legibility from any angle, with only 2 minor caveats, and one, to me at least, major caveat, but only for the negative version of the screen. So the minor caveat is the numbers have shadows underneath them opposed to that nice flat clean look on the original screens, and the screen has a slight green tint to the background compared to the grey of the originals as well. The major caveat is that the numbers have a slight dark blue colour to them. Now this is minor on the positive display and it isn't really an issue, it only shows in bright light, but it's a major downside for me for the negative or inverted displays because the dark blue does not blend with the black faceplates at all like the normal inverted displays do. It's a shame because the negative displays are the ones with the worst legibility and they would benefit the most from this kind of upgrade.
So if you want great viewing angles, then I can recommend this, but if you prefer the sharper, more neutral colour tones of the original displays, then just stick with the original.
In the end, I think that if you really like these classic digital Casios from the 80s and the 90s, these SKXMODS parts are an excellent upgrade and have a really nice feel of quality and robustness, and they wear really comfortably as well. They take a 40 quid watch and they turn it into something much more premium. Seeing how great these modules look and feel inside such a quality metal case behind a nice piece of sapphire glass with a really nice bracelet makes me wonder why Casio themselves don't make these. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I really hope you enjoyed taking a look at these case mods for these classic Casios, and thanks to SKXMODS for sending these in.
And before I forget, here's an outdoor shot to finish it off. And as always, thank you for watching, God bless you, and I'll see you next time. That should be it. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that, man. That is gorgeous. I love that negative display. Wow. Oh, man.
Wow.